Okay, Karen, can you go ahead and just start to describe what you guys are trying to do?
Yeah, so Dayu and I basically, we've never met each other before through a mutual friend. We came together to come with an organization with the purpose of trying to get personal protective equipment to the front line. So as a physician in Los Angeles, the biggest problem that we have right now is having adequate supply of personal protective equipment. Usually these are like one-time disposable masks, like N95 masks, isolation gowns that you use when you go in the patient room, gloves. Those are kind of the things that we've been using in the hospital. And because of, the large number of, COVID patients coming into our hospitals all throughout the nation, our supply has been dwindling quite rapidly because the hospital chains are unable to, meet the supply and demand in these hospitals all throughout the nation. We've kind of took it upon ourselves, me and Dayu, to reach out to the community, to different organizations, asking for personal protective equipment if it could be donated to these hospitals in need.
And Dayu, how successful have you been so far?
It's been pretty tremendous. We started this website, I think it was either Thursday or Friday. So we've been working essentially nonstop over the weekend and over the past couple of days on the website. We've grown from 2 people to a group of 9 people now. We got 9 people on the team, people from all over the country, and even in Vancouver, where 2 of our devs live. So the response has been excellent. We've gotten so many different people volunteering to help and just getting different donations, different areas. We got a donor from New Hampshire, James. He recently, 2 days ago, donated 3,760 3M N95 masks. And we're getting those to NYC, to 5 different hospitals. 3,760. So people have been so generous. We've been working with different companies too. Ford Motor Company reached out, Boston Dynamics. So it's been awesome.
Karen, what kind of reaction do you have when you put something together like this so quickly and you get such a big response?
Yeah, so being a physician, in the front line, I mean, this is an outpouring amount of support that we can get from the community. Like every day we go into a hospital with the fear of are we having enough personal protective equipment? That's my fear, and that's my colleagues' fear as well too. So just to have overwhelming positive response from the community, like Dayu mentioned, we've had a lot of companies, a lot of small organizations reach out to us and say, hey, I have all this equipment, we're not going to be doing any construction anymore. What can I do with all my N95 masks? Can I donate it to the front line? We said, absolutely. Let me put you in contact, with a hospital in need who can make this, make this into good use. So, I mean, it's been very, very positive response. It's a really heartwarming response for me. I mean, like, you go into the hospital, you work day and night, you work a lot of long hours, a lot of, I just came off a night shift as well too. But, just to come back to this, come back to, community and, help each other in a time of need has been, very heartwarming for me. I can't really, express how much we've, or Dayu and I and our team, we're so grateful to be able to help others. We've had like a lot of heartwarming stories as well too. We just had an email yesterday from an individual who has lupus. She's undergoing chemotherapy. She has immunosuppressive system, and she's, susceptible to getting COVID like all of us. But like other people, she basically has her own set of, supplies to kind of keep her safe from, getting infected with, other diseases, infections. And she even, replied to us and said, I would love to donate a portion of my personal protective, equipment. She has some, gloves, some masks. And I said, wow, like that's something that, a lot of people, can really relate to that story.
Dayu, how do you decide when you get these donations where you send them? I mean, how do you decide which hospital or medical facility needs this?
Right. So that's a very important question, and this is a question that I think Karen can help us answer. So Karen has a very large network of doctors and hospitals from her med school experience. Karen, you want to take this one?
Yeah. So through all my years of training, I've developed a lot of connections all throughout the nation. I went to medical school in New York and Long Island. And so a lot of my colleagues actually stayed behind in New York City within the tri-state area to work. And so a lot of my friends are expressing, concerns like, we don't, what's your personal protective equipment at your hospital? And I said, we're starting to dwindle our supply, but, we have an adequate supply for now. What is it like at your hospitals? And they're getting really hit really, really hard. And so, kind of expressing the same concerns, I just reach out to a friend in Boston. They're saying, we can't even find one single mask to use at the end of the day, just because there are no masks available. This stuff used to be like, maybe I would say before, like in December of 2019, we've never had an issue with supply. We would use a mask, throw it out, and we would never think twice about reusing a mask. Now we're to the point where, I'm given one mask at one shift, and I have to use the mask, the same mask for, days on end until, I can get a second pair. But, you never will look at personal protective equipment the same way, especially, an N95 mask. Like if you can get one in the hospital at the beginning of your shift, like for you, that's essentially gold. You hit the gold mine because it's really, really hard to find. But in terms of, trying to get to the people in need, I've been just, this is something that we've all talked about across the board in terms of our colleagues, sharing experiences, as well as, sharing, what knowledge we do know about COVID and how to kind of treat these patients, adequately, just because it's so novel. And so we've been kind of sharing the same experience of like, what can we do? What treatments are there? And, what other techniques or methods can we do to, really help these patients in need?
I got two more questions for you because I know you guys are busy and helping people. Dayu, can you tell me how people can help you?
Okay, so there's a few ways. Our website essentially has a database of right now currently about 250 different hospitals across almost every single state in the country. So if you're interested in donating your PPE, and I would recommend that, if you don't absolutely need it right now, it's more important for the personal protective equipment to be going to the front line, to our doctors and nurses, right? I would recommend that they go online, donateppe.org, and select by their state and find hospitals in their state that are accepting donations. So the hospitals reached out to us, our form, and tells us, what kind of PPE they need, whether it's N95s, face shields, gowns, whatever. So you find out what they need, you find out what the instruction is and how to get it to them. That's number one. Number two, we're working with different organizations, like different med school organizations. For example, UCSF is our partner. They helped us with getting everything started with the traction. We're also working with schools in Atlanta and SoCal, and also in Boston. So that's number two. If you have donation drives, we're advertising donation drives on our website, so you can check that out under drives. And then finally, we're working with large organizations and businesses to help them reallocate their resources. So if you are a large organization or a company or a large donor and you don't know where to donate, give us a call, let us know, and we can help you distribute those.
Okay, and Karen, how bad is it on the front lines this week, do you think? You're there.
Yeah, so every single day it gets worse and worse. In Los Angeles, relative to some other areas in the country, there are not that many cases compared to, like, say, New York City. But my friends and I talk pretty frequently, and the New York City numbers are astronomical. They're exponentially increasing. The hospitals are filled up to the brim. There are no ventilators in some of these hospitals. There was one article that was written yesterday in Elmhurst Hospital where a lot of patients died. It's getting pretty overwhelming for a lot of these providers. A lot of providers are getting sick from COVID. Their coworkers are getting sick. They're getting sick. A lot of them are now in quarantine. So it really takes a toll on, the providers themselves. So, it's getting to the point where we have to really take it upon ourselves in the community, to help flatten the curve. And that's really important to know. So, social distancing, it really does help. We need to make sure that we, alleviate the burden on these care providers by really, doing that at minimum. Staying 6 feet away. If you can stay at home,
Right.
Stay at home. That's really, really crucial to kind of, echo out to the community. But a lot of these hospitals, like, they can't take any more of patients. You know, a lot of the hospital wards are switching to ICU wards, or and basically intensive care unit wards. You know, a lot of these wards were never intended to be for, you know, ventilated patients. But it's getting overwhelming. My friends at New York City, they basically echoed, you know, really to, you know, take this seriously. Even if you're young, we do see young patients who are affected, who are sick, who need a lot of ventilatory support for their lungs, even cardiac support, being on an ECMO machine. But when resources are becoming scarce, it becomes a challenge to figure out how do you allocate resources to the right individuals.